So today's hike is the trail inside the Glenorchy Conservation Area. So this park apparently is managed by Conservation Halton. However, it's not like the other parks like Kelso and so on. There's no gatehouse, and it covers a wide area. But my video today will talk about the trail and the hike on it. So here we see an aerial photograph of the area I want to talk about. The dominant thing you'll notice that on the right hand side is Highway 407, and the red line indicates the trail that we will take today on our hike. So a couple other points of interest is how to get there. So on the left hand side, leading in from the middle of the page, is fourth line, and the light blue line heads on from left to right and stops at a dead end. You can park there, and from there you can walk on down to where the yellow star is. I've indicated that with a gray line. That used to be a road, but it got too difficult to maintain, so they put in a new footbridge, and bicycles can go through there and hikers can go through there. And when you get to the where the river is there, it's really a nice scenic spot, although hiking along the riverside seems to be very limited. The trail that we're talking about is on the top of the ridge. So from the river bed to the top of where the red line is about 60 to 80 feet in elevation, depending on where you are on the trail. So today's trail will ride along the top of the edge. It is a little bit difficult to find the trail entrance, and I'm going to talk to you about that and show you some photographs. But basically, it is where the star ends. Now, the bold yellow line leads on to the dead end portion of Neyagawa line. So you can move on down there, and where the bold yellow line stops at the yellow star, you can park there, and that's where the trail will begin. This is another aerial photograph, zoomed in quite a bit. The red line shows where the trail will lead to. From the middle bottom part of the page where the little pond is the main trail entrance. I will tell you that down by the river, it's possible to walk along the riverside for a little ways and then climb up and join the same trail where that red line is. However, this was such a muddy day, we couldn't go up there, and it was too muddy to even get in there and take photographs. So I've been on this trail several times, and I finally got a handle on how not to get lost. So the first important thing to note is that this is not a marked trail like the Bruce Trail has their blazes on it to help you in maps and that sort of thing. Trail markings and maps do not exist, so I would say that the trail is mainly somewhat apparent, but not always. Sometimes it's not apparent. So the main way to stay on the trail is almost always you should be on the trail that's right next to the big ravine. Sometimes it's necessary to move away from the big ravine in order to cross over some of the mini ravines and creeks and so on. That'll become more apparent as we get into the photographs. So here we are parked at the dead end of the Neyagawa line. If you were to go down that pavement you'd go towards the river, but we're going to go to the right. Believe it or not, this is the entrance for the trail. There's no markings. There's a sign there that said that that's the park, but this is the entrance to the trail. Allow me to show you exactly what I mean. That's it right there. Okay. So as soon as you move through that little footpath, the first thing you need to do is navigate the little stream. There's a couple of rocks there you can step on, but you need to get to the other side. So this is not as apparent as you would hope. So cross a little creek there and begin up the path that way. So there's a look at the creek. So then the path becomes a little bit apparent as we start heading up to the top of the ridge. So quite apparent there, but right in front of the Dog Eve is the cliff that drops down into the river ravine. So we're moving along the path now that seems apparent. Remember I talked about mini ravines. They are all over the place at this point in time. This is where the water will drain down into the river edge, so be careful along that spot. Another mini ravine. So up and down the hills there, this is 2 days after the major rain, so this part of the trail is dried up. That's a look down into the river area. Just beyond the dog there is another cliff area. So we're moving right along the ravine edge there. Now the thing is about this part of the park is it is prone to be quite muddy. This is as bad as it gets 2 days after a rain. Mud puddles and so on. So moving along, I've been there in the dead of summer, and sometimes there's still some of those mud puddles there. That's a look at a mini ravine. Someone had built a bridge there, but it is long since collapsed. So this was on April 2nd that we did this hike, and we saw no one else in this area. That's why I went there, because wanted to avoid the crowds of a Sunday afternoon. So moving up here now, and there's evidence of what I can only think was some sort of mountain bike ramp. So we're a little ways in now, maybe kilometers in. Off in the distance there you can see some of the sign structure for the 407. But this little red tag on there, I'm not sure whether somebody's trying to mark the trail. They're all through there or not. But remember to try to stay as close to the ravine as possible, and that's what we're headed towards there now. Another mini ravine leading into the big ravine. Nearly at the end of the 2-kilometer trail, arrived at a spot with a lawn chair, and there was also an area for a bonfire. So the sign says no fires, but somebody is in there camping, and you might also see some dirt motorcycles. So I haven't seen it, but I've seen the trail, the tracks in the mud. So this is where I ended the hike today. There was a big fence there, but if you turned and went right along that mini ravine, you would see areas you could cross, and you can continue on. That was enough for us today. So there's my Bruce Trail map illustration showing the 2.2 kilometers that we hiked from the green dot up to the point, and turned around, came back. That took us about 40 minutes when we weren't taking pictures. And just for the record, it was 13 degrees Celsius. So that's a look at the park.